Hello everyone, I'm going to show you how you can paint very simply some lemons. Let's think about summer holidays, and the technique I'm going to use you can also do to paint some oranges as well. Don't need a lot of materials. I've got here, you can see it's a mix of watercolours, some better than others. Basically you need an ultramarine, a lemon yellow, cadmium yellow. It's useful to have a cadmium orange or an orange colour. And then I've also got a bit of Prussian blue and, more importantly, some burnt umber. Don't need the Prussian blue, it's just if you want to darken things a bit, it's useful. So the first thing I'm going to do, can you see I've got my nice messy palette here. But I'm just going to squeeze out some more colour. So I'm going to put some cadmium in there. Good thing about using this is when it dries I can still use it as pan colour. Orange there. I'll put the cadmium yellow there. So that was lemon yellow, that one. Cadmium yellow. So lemon yellow is the yellow that is a cool yellow. Cadmium is the warm yellow. And so this is a cheap ultramarine, so I'm just going to put it here, just so it's probably got more filler in it. And then also this is a cheap burnt umber, but they will do the job. This is really, and you could use pan watercolours as well, slightly more challenging. So I'm just going to move that back a bit. What I might do is turn this around like this, so then you can see the colour mixing and what I'm doing. So I've got a few brushes here. To be honest, all you really need is a small brush and a bigger brush. I've got a rigger brush because some of you all know how much I love them, and I've also got a kind of medium-sized one as well. Got some clean water in a jar. The other thing is a toilet roll, because we're going to use that to make the shapes. So the first thing we're going to do is just put a little bit of water in with the cadmium yellow, and I'm going to put a bit of paint around the edges of this, you see. Then I'm going to sort of do an oval shape. Oh, that was not what I needed. Well, it's going to add to the texture, I suppose. Make sure there's no more drips of water. It's because the brush was a bit wet. So I'm going to squeeze it so it's sort of oval shaped, and then I'm going to press it down where I want a lemon to be. And then let's do it again. A bit more paint. And let's do another one. It's just, that's not very oval, is it? Never mind, let's squeeze it again to make it a bit more oval. There we are. Okay, that will do. We'll just have two on this one. So next thing we're going to do is get a little bit of water, a bit of yellow, and we're just going to pull in, because we don't really need much, because there's already paint here. You can pull in the paint from the edges, because you don't want that line to sort of show. So pull it in, pull it in. Maybe sort of poke it around a bit. I might use a smaller brush for a minute, so I can sort of really scrub at it. So I'm sort of loosening up the paint, and you see already some of it's lighter, some of it's darker. Covering it all, do the same with the other one. Pull in that line. You don't want that line being too clear. And then I'm going to add a little bit of the yellower yellow, if you see what I mean. Bit of water. Make it a bit thinner. So think about which way is the light coming. So I'm thinking the light is coming from this side. So this side is going to be lighter and this side is going to be darker. So I want the lighter yellow on this side. That's it. Now if you think about it, lemons usually have a little bit of shine, so I'll get a bit of paper towel and just maybe dab a bit of on the lighter side it off, so it looks like it's catching the light a bit. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'll just use my small brush, tiny bit of orange, just a little bit of watery orange, maybe add that to the darker side. And because it's all wet, it's kind of blending in a bit. You see that? A bit too much. So I'm going to clean my brush, dry it off a bit, and just pull it in a little bit. If it's still too much, what you can do is just pull it off with a brush. You see that's kind of making it less. And the other thing, of course, is you can just grab your paper towel and just lift some up like that. And then I can smear the colour in again. So I just want to give the feeling that it's got a little bit of shape. Now the next thing to do is we need to add the sort of ends. So I'm going to have a little bit more of both yellows. You think they've both got sort of like little points to them, haven't they? So we're just going to pull away sort of little blobs on the ends. There we are, one up here. And that's where it's sort of joined to the... So I can see this one. I've got to take my glasses off. I can't see properly at the moment. It's really annoying. There we are. And then put it away. A tiny bit more of the cadmium. Darken it a bit. Maybe put a bit of the orange into it as well. That's it. There we are. Okay, so then next thing is, of course, lemons have a slight greenness to them as well. So to make the green, we'll just get a little dot of ultramarine. Clean your brush so it doesn't have, and then get a little bit of the yellow and let's mix them together, and that makes a, you see that's quite a sort of light green, so I might put a touch more blue in it. There we are. So what I'm going to do is get my wet little brush, just pick up a tiny bit of that, and then just see if I can just add a tiny bit to the edges. Tiny bit more. That's a bit too much there, isn't it? You see, I'm sort of move it around a bit. Pick a bit up for here. Gives it a bit more 3D-ness. Okay. Need a bit more yellow there. Right, next you could use the end of your brush, just dip it into the green, and we're just going to add a few little pock marks. You know how the skin is pock marked? And it spreads a little bit, and that's pretty cool as well. There you go. So next thing we're going to do is the branches. So I'm going to use my rigger brush, but you could use your little brush. I'm going to use a bit of brown and a bit of blue together. A bit more brown, because we want it brownish but dark. If you put the brown and the blue together, you get quite a dark colour. If I wanted it even darker, I could add some of that Prussian blue, but I think this will be fine. So before I start, I've got to think, where do I want the branches to go? So obviously I want the lemon to be joined to a branch, so, or twig. So I'm going to start here. And then this one here is going to be joined to one as well. And then we want to do some leaves. So let's just do some extra twigs. That's probably enough there. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we want to make sort of quite a dark green. So we need to add a bit more blue, maybe a dot of black to that green we had before. So there's a bit more blue in there. Not when I say black, a bit of brown. So I want to make it a little bit. Might even put a little tiny bit of orange to make it a bit sort of browner. That's it. Okay, so I'm going to use this size brush because I want to make quite a nice sort of leaf shape. So there's one. Now, from what I remember of citrus leaves, they have quite a nice little sort of curved point to them, don't they? I can see I've kind of failed with that first one. So let's add a little bit more if I can. There we are, that's it. Let's do a leaf here. It's going right off the page, but never mind. And then let's do, oh, I seem to be running out of paint. Let's add a bit more water, mix a bit more up, a bit of lemon, a bit of ultramarine, tiny bit of that browny blue mix, make it a bit darker, a bit more, tiny bit of the orange. Oh, yeah, that's better. Right, let's do another leaf here. Oh, that's nicer actually, that's a bit darker, isn't it? And then we'll do another one just here. Okay, so now I want to sort of make them a little bit more 3D. So I'm going to add a bit more blue and brown, a drop of water, particularly these ones. So on one side I'm going to put another layer of paint. Then I'm going to do a slightly lighter yellow, yellowy green. Just add a bit more. Paint. I'm making a right old mess there, aren't I? There we are. Now I think I'm going to add a little bit more darker brown, if I can make a darker one. So a bit of brown, so basically brown with a tiny bit of blue. There we are. Now what I'm going to do is add a little bit, not to the whole stem. Now to do this you probably will need a rigger brush, but if I can encourage you to get anything, let's get a rigger brush. They are just so useful. See how you can just do really, really nice gentle lines. And then finally, I'm just going to do a bit, just very lightly, a bit of a vein on each leaf. There we are. I quite like that. Now, if you want to add a little finishing touch, some of you will know I'm a bit of a fan of splattering. So I'm just going to put a little bit of that sort of bluey brown on my brush and then just flick it. Try not to get it all over me. You know what? I've had another idea. I know it's bad me having ideas, I know. Can I find quickly a nice blingy colour? Oh, I think I've got this, you see, it's a gouache, so it's a bit naughty I'm mixing it, but never mind. I'm just going to get a little bit of this lovely bronze out. Make sure the brush is clean. Just put a little bit here. Add some water. And then see if I can get it to there we are. I think that's done. So I quite like that. And hopefully you do too. And hopefully you can have a go at doing it yourself. And if you do, put it up and so we can share it. Have fun.